Hello everyone, it's Jamarl Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I hope everyone is doing okay. Let me check this just before I start. Guys, if you enjoy the content and you dig what I am putting down and you would like to support keeping this show ticking along, please feel free to do so, or at the very least I'm prodding to do so either through PayPal or Patreon. The show has been demonetized, so at this point, all of the show is ticking along based upon you guys. And so, first, I want to thank you all that do support the show, and a slight prod, even if it's just $1, it all helps. It's 9/12. We're not that far away from 9/11. It's 9/12. This is, believe it or not, take a look at this.
Saudi women are getting a taste of what's to come. It's a new female-targeted car exhibition in Saudi Arabia, as the countdown begins to women legally being able to hit the road once the ban is officially lifted next month.
I swear by God, it's an amazing feeling. But the most important thing is that you have the courage and not be afraid of anything. I'm very happy.
Excluding women from driving has long been a stain on the country's international image, but the Conservative Kingdom wants to reform its economy. Women behind the wheel has been heralded by activists, but also by businesses.
The thing is, that didn't happen overnight. A lot of those women were getting behind the wheel and were being arrested and locked up and prosecuted in a rabid, back-wing, monstrous, knuckle-dragging, troglodyte kingdom. Many of those women were being prosecuted. Now, they are pushing this forward. What's his name? Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is pushing forward legislation to, not pushing forward, it's a despotic kingdom. His rules to eat it. But they're going to allow women to drive. Now, what happened to the activists that pushed this legislation forward? Those activists were prosecuted. Even though they were pushing through and allowing women to drive at this point, oh, everybody's heralding them as such a great guy. Do you know they went after those women in a spat of prosecutions? Multiple women were prosecuted in that kingdom. Canada said something about it. Now, Canada said something about it because one of the people had association with Canada, but Human Rights Watch Canada and Canada says something about it. This created an international row between Saudi Arabia and Canada, with Saudi Arabia expelling diplomats from its embassies, shutting down some of the business interests and business ties that they were back and forth between the two countries. But also did this. And look at this. Because I have a few stories in this mindset. But look right here. In fact, you could just look behind me. What does that put you in the mind of? What does this put you in the mind of? There's a plane and it's flying towards a tower. This was tweeted out from an account linked to Saudi Arabia that's known to be linked to Saudi Arabia. It was in Arabic. But what it said is, he who interferes with what doesn't concern him finds what doesn't. Essentially sticking one's nose where it doesn't belong. Now, this is in relation to Canada saying something about their monstrous human rights and legal policies where they're chopping off heads and hands and crucifying human beings. This is a 9/11 attack. They're threatening Canada with a 9/11 attack. I wanted to do this video a while ago and I had forgot all about this video. They threaten Canada with a 9/11 attack. There is no other way to look at this and come to some other conclusion. They're threatening Canada with a 9/11 attack. Now let's be very clear with this. Of the 19 people that attacked us on 9/11, 15 were Saudis. Meaning, all but 4 people that was on that plane were Saudis. Not to mention they spread Wahhabism all throughout that region of the world, meaning they spread terrorism all throughout that region of the world. Don't take my word for it. Hillary Clinton said in the WikiLeaks documents. Didn't stop her from taking money from him, but that's true. They are threatening Canada with a 9/11 attack. 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudis. There is a link between Saudi Arabia and 9/11. That link was hid and covered up for years. The wild part about this is what Canada was doing here wasn't wrong. Saudi Arabia reacted, flipped the fuck out over what was modest criticism at best. But you have a despotic kingdom who, for the most part, probably feels some kind of way with the rest of the world looking at them as being some kind of fucking kingdom of troglodytes, theocrats. This story gets worse, by the way. They're about to behead somebody. I have a story coming up immediately after this story about the beheading, or something else that's also connected with this story, almost in kind of a slanted way or indirect way. Just be clear. We are friends with Saudi Arabia, despite the fact that 15 of the 19 people that attacked us were Saudis. We're friends with Saudi Arabia. Our friendship with Saudi Arabia goes all the way back from my mistake to FDR, with this idea of oil for protection. You give us oil, we will protect you. And we have, all the way back then, given them monstrous amounts of weapons. Weapons after weapons after weapons, in which case they can use to subjugate their own population and their neighbors. Right now, they're using those weapons in order to murder Yemenis. Murder, starve, kill, weaponize, disease. Not to mention our assistance in doing so in logistics. Just be aware. There's nothing to the story other than be aware. One of our allies, who are supposedly our friends, has threatened to attack Canada with the 9/11 style attack. At a certain point, don't you have to look around and ask yourself if these are your friends? If these are your friends? My mom would always say, hey, you can kind of see yourself in your friends. Meaning, if these are your friends, what does this say about you? What do your friends say about you? Look around at our friends. Don't take my word for it. Look around at our friends. I have another video coming immediately after this, so stick around.